becomes a communications issue and a public understanding issue.
But the Senate report, over 90% of doctors' offices have yet to... That does sound to me like the potential for a real domino effect is in place, at least.
There's a big difference, I think, between how different sectors of the economy have dealt with this issue, and there's also a big difference in the sort of domino effect that certain sectors can have. The ones that have been the most aggressive about fixing it, electricity, telecommunications, financial institutions, are also the parts of the economy that have the most to lose and have the most interaction in the most important ways for the public. And so it doesn't surprise me that small businesses and other countries, for example, are farther behind in dealing with this issue.
So what do you think that individuals should do to prepare?
Well, it really depends on your individual situation. There are a lot of things that folks should probably do that they should do anyway, living in the Northwest and being in a place that gets floods and fires and earthquakes. And so I think that, I for example, I'm careful about my financial records. There are lots of folks who, because they want to be prepared in case there's an earthquake or something, or an ice storm, have a couple of days food at the house. So there's some very sensible things that you could actually find some recommendations on our website that individuals could do.
Okay, I'll get that web address in a minute. And that's what we've done in our family. We have an earthquake kit in our garage that's got a couple days worth of drinking water and a couple days worth of food. And I figure after 2 days, I'll just go out and start looting like everyone else.
Well, I think it's more likely that the electricity at my house will be out January 1st, 2000 because of some sort of winter storm than it is because of year 2000.
So is the state in pretty good shape now, the things that you oversee?
Yeah, Governor Locke has been very clear that this is a high priority, and he's set out the goals of ensuring that there's no loss of accountability for state resources and no interruption of vital services to the public. And it's around those two goals that we've formed our strategy. One of the interesting ways we've approached it is that we have an outside audit of all of our progress. And so it's not just trust us, we're ready. There's an outside audit, and we're 75% of the important systems are completely done and tested. And the remaining 25% are in the process, most of them in the process of being tested for their compliance right now.
Why does it take so long, Chris, to fix this problem? I mean, I hear, a lot of businesses are going to have to prioritize which aspects of their computer code they're going to upgrade because they're not going to be able to upgrade everything. Why is this such a sticky problem?
Well, it really depends on the individual computer system. There are some systems where there wasn't very good documentation, and they were written a long 1,000, and those worked without a hitch. So we've got some experience already in fixing systems and seeing, including some pretty complicated interdependent systems, and have had some success already.
On a scale of 1 to 10,
geez, Dori.
What's your best guess as to how much this is going to affect us on January 1st?
Which is 1 and which is 10, Dori?
1 is no effect whatsoever. 10 is Armageddon.
I don't like to give numbers, but since we're on talk radio, I can do this, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I'd say about a 2,
okay.
And I think that Washington State is probably better prepared than most states in the country and most parts of the world.
Fair enough. All right, Chris, I appreciate your time. Oh, what's the website if people want to
the main Washington State website is at access, access.wa.gov, G-O-V, and that'll take you to the front page, and if you click on the year 2000 icon, it'll take you to a whole lot of information. One of the things we are going to do is next month we're going to launch a new part of that website that will allow people to get personalized information about all of their service providers, your electricity, your telecommunications, your financial institutions.
your state providers or beyond just...
Beyond the state, private sector, too.
Oh, that sounds like a great program. Excellent. All right, Chris, thanks again, and maybe we can talk again as Armageddon draws near.
Anytime, Dori.
Okay, thanks a lot. Chris Hendrick, he is the director of Washington State's Y2K office. The reason I'm interested in this is I saw a poll in USA Today this morning, along with the Senate report that I just quoted to you. I saw a poll, 21% of Americans now expect major problems in 2000. 54% say they will avoid air travel around January 1st. 24%, 1 out of 4 people, say they will buy a generator or a wood stove sometime this year. And when I was down at the home show last week, I saw a lot of companies were touting their Y2K products. The wood stoves, there were the survival kits that will give you 6 months worth of astronaut food. 55% believe it's likely that banking and accounting systems will fail. 43% say it's likely that air traffic control systems will fail. 2 out of 5 believe grocery stores will have shortages. I want to know where you stand on all of this. I want to know if you are part of this 25% or so that think this is going to be a major cataclysmic event, or if you're part of the number who thinks this is going to have almost no effect on their life and you haven't done much to prepare for it. I'm certainly closer to that end of the spectrum than the panic end. But I'd like to know if you still have fears about Y2K, if you have taken steps, if you are preparing a kit, if you are going to buy a generator or a wood stove. Let me give you the phone numbers here. Just let me know where you stand in your Y2K preparations and attitude and all of that stuff. Seattle lines, a couple of them open at 421-KIRO, 421-5476. Toll free is 1-800-KIRO-710. Give me your state of Y2K preparedness as we continue here on 710 KIRO.
A complete and restful...
710 KIRO.
Hi, Dori.
Hello.
I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
Really?
Nah.
I see, that's what I used to think. Then I read the Senate report, and I got a little jumpy, Erica.
Well, we're going to have about $500 cash. We're going to have that. We're going to save that up, for it.
Yeah.
And so as not to add, because what I'm afraid of, I've been hearing on the news, is that everyone's going to go to the bank in like August, September, and start drawing out money. Well, then you're going to have some problems.
Yeah, and what the Federal Reserve has prepared for is the average family, I believe it's family, not individual, taking out $500.
Yeah.
And they say they have plenty of reserves for that, but if people start taking out $1,000 or $2,000, then you're going to have a bit of a run on the banks.
Exactly, and then you're going to have the domino effect and blah, blah, blah. And, we might have a couple gallons of water, that kind of thing, but I don't think it's going to... Armageddon.
Yeah, and there are still some people who believe, last poll I saw, 10% believe that life as we know it is going to change on January 1st.
My life as I know it's going to change in February because I turned 30. That's about the only cataclysmic event.
Okay. Well, I hope you survive that as well as you're prepared for Y2K.
Thanks, Dori.
Okay, and by the way, for that 30th birthday, make sure you have a couple of gallons of water standing by for that, too.
I will.
Okay. All right, Erica, see ya. Rich in Woodinville, you're on 710 KIRO.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dori.
Hi, Rich.
I agree with your last caller. My philosophy is we live in an area where there's earthquakes and winds and we're out of power. You should always be prepared.
Right.
And if you prepare for those, you should be ready for Y2K.
A friend of mine who lives up on the Issaquah Plateau, he just got a generator installed in his house, one that will power his entire house, and it's connected through his circuit box, and he does that because they lose electricity so often as it is, and so he would be perfectly set even if there's some power outages attendant to Y2K.
Yeah, I have the same. I have a generator too.
Yeah.
But part of my philosophy is if you're prepared, and eventually, whether it's an earthquake or the storm of the century,
Right.
You're ready. You're ready for those things. And if everybody uses a little common sense and we all don't panic, I think we're all going to do just fine.
Yeah, but that's something you can't control. I mean, you can control your level of preparedness, Rich, but you can't control everyone else not panicking. And I think that may be the biggest factor here is this irrationality that seems to be surrounding this.
Yeah, I agree, and that's something that I don't know how anyone can be prepared for. But if you're prepared for yourself and for your family, then that's all you can do.
Fair enough. All right, Rich, thanks.
Thank you, Dory.
Yeah, and I've wondered, I've even thought about this. Do I want to, put all my stocks in cash in case there's some kind of panic, irrational panic, and the stock market crashes? Do I want to sell my stocks and my mutual funds? Well, then I'm contributing to the panic if I do, but I would be protecting myself from other people's irrationality. It's something that I've at least kicked around. I don't think I'd pull the trigger on it, but you got to think about it. It's 12:30. Get right back to your phone calls on 710 KIRO.
710 KIRO's afternoon news took a unique look back at baseball legend Joe DiMaggio with the voice of the Mariners, Dave Niehaus.
DiMaggio had such a regal quality about it, truly an American icon. There will never be another like it.
And a grandmother in Bremerton who knew Joe as a boy.
He was very thoughtful toward
So you're gonna be in Vegas for the Millennium?
Yeah, and
Wow.
I got a good deal as deals go that weekend. Only $300 a night for a place that's normally $30.
Well, that is actually, you're lucky you found a place at all, because I thought all of Vegas had been sold out for a year now.
Well, I booked it in January, and then I booked my airfare on Monday.
Man, where are you going to be staying?
The Maxim.
Oh, jeez.
I know it, and tell me about it.
What is it? You're paying $300 a night to stay at the Maxim?
Yep, usually $29. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hey, we stayed at Mandalay Bay last weekend. It's excellent.
Yeah, well, I'll be at Bellagio in about 2 weeks here.
Oh,
so.
Beautiful. Yeah, I can't wait to stay there, too.
Yeah.
But,
well,
yeah, we've been planning it for 4 years, and when I saw the prices, at first they were saying most places I called crappy places like, Imperial Palace, they were charging $400 a night, 4-night minimum.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just going, oh, my God. And then I found a 3-night minimum for $300, and after calling everyone else, it sounded cheap.
Man, that's brutal.
I know, but we've been planning it.
That's the extent of your Y2K preparations.
That's it. And I always have cash when I go to Vegas, so that part,
Yeah, that's true. Cash is king in Vegas,
That's right.
Okay. All right, Sandy, thank you.
Bye.
See you later. By the way, we still have a couple spots on this Vegas trip. I think they got about... Hey, Kathy, you're on 710 KIRO.
Hey there, Dory. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Well, I tend to agree with you a little more about the extent of the impact of the Y2K situation. I do think that we're going to have some glitches here and there, but I don't think we're going to have to be digging holes and, burying food and things.
And as I said, I'm not so afraid of the glitches as I am about this irrational fear that seems to be gripping so many people.
Well, I was thinking about that. You mentioned that a couple callers ago. How do we control the panic?
Yeah.
And, I live in one of those rare neighborhoods where everybody knows everybody, and we're in constant contact with one another. So we talked about it actually last night. A bunch of us happened to be together for another reason entirely. And we were talking about, what are we going to do and how's this going to go? And we decided that we'll handle it like we handle everything else that happens in our neighborhood. It's just another excuse for a party.
Well, there you go.
Sure. Open the keys down.
Your phone's breaking up on us, Kathy, but I'm glad you called. I'll let you go with that. Thank you. And, I'll probably spend this New Year's Eve the way that I spend every New Year's Eve. Just sitting on my porch, firing my AK-47 up into the air. David in Bellingham. Hello, David. You're on 710 KIRO.
Hi, Dory.
Hi, David.
I'm one of those people that really wasn't paying much attention to Y2K and wasn't really planning on doing anything until I had something happen about a week or two ago. One of the local fire departments, they're mandated by the state to be compliant.
Right.
So they just got a new fire truck. So they it has an onboard computer. They set the computer to December 31st. Left the clock alone and then went home that night.
Mm-hmm.
When they came in the next day, the fire truck could not be started.
Really?
Yeah, it shut down the electrical system.
This
was a brand new 1999 fire truck.
the latest model.
Right.
Which fire department was this?
I better not say.
Well, no, I want to find out about this.
Oh.
I don't know if I believe this story.
Yeah. I can get to I can't say over the air.
Okay, I'm going to put you on hold because I want to verify this story because I don't believe it.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Always call people with stories like that. Let's see if we can get that fire department name from David, Sean. I want to give him a call here. Paul in Bremerton. Hello, Paul. You're on 710 KIRO.
Good afternoon, Dori.
Hello, Paul.
Hey, I don't think we're going to see too many big problems, not maybe a day or even a couple hours of interruption of service.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that being prudent wouldn't take care of. The biggest problem I see is the henny-penny mentality
Right.
of the people around us causing the big crisis.
Yeah, exactly. Even if there isn't a real technological basis for the concern, I think the emotional reaction is what I'm most concerned about.
Those doomsday folks.
Yeah. I mean, you get on the internet, and there is website after website with these people who are literally predicting Armageddon.
Either that or people who want to make big money.
Yeah, well, I was talking to this guy a couple of months ago. He was giving up his very high-paying job so he could hawk these Y2K survival kits, and it's a 6-month food supply, and he's going to get rich selling these this year. He's going to retire at the end of this year, but he is going to get filthy, stinking rich because he is preying on either the fears or the gullibility of an awful lot of people.
Exactly.
And part of his pitch is, and then even if it doesn't happen, even if the worst case scenario doesn't happen, you'll be able to donate it to a food bank and get the big charitable write-off, but at least you'll be protected if it does. And
well, I was watching the news yesterday, and they have like IKEA or one of these outdoor places selling a 6-month supply of freeze-dried food for $500 per person.
Yeah.
They're making a killing.
Oh, yeah. So I agree with you. That is the biggest concern, is these knuckleheads who, like you said, say the sky is falling.
That's right.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Thanks for taking my call.
Opens up a toll-free line, 1-800-KIRO 710.
Wednesday on the Dry Collar, your show got one of those zero-tolerance. Mentally retarded boy steals $2 and is prosecuted as an adult. Now, the case has been dropped.
Client, Dori Monson show. Back to your phone calls. Al, Victoria, BC. Hello, Al. You're on 710 KIRO.
Hi, Dori. I just happened to tune in to you here in BC.
Yes.
I feel like probably a number of people are in a state of denial on this subject. I've read an excellent book recently, and it graphically points out all the difficulties we could face. And if everyone were beginning to say, all the services were beginning to say, we have a serious problem, everyone would panic. So naturally, the message we're going to get from many organizations is everything's okay or no problem.
And do you think that there is a tremendous problem on the horizon?
I think a rather major problem, yes, from everything I've read. And
what do you think is going to happen?
I think there could be serious power problems because of the grids. What do I want to call it? The hydro grids.
Mm-hmm.
And examples of things that have happened in the past when one state has had a problem, it's spread over into other states. It's very complex, the effect that other countries will have. And we could be without power or water. I don't know if it'll end up in chaos, but I know from what I hear here in our city, they are putting on alert already the police and the reserves for disaster. So some people are taking it seriously.
And how long do you think, from what you've read, how long do you think the disruption will be?
Well, some say weeks, some say months. From what I've read, it could go on. If the economic situation turns upside down because of other countries, as well as people panicking and drawing out funds here, who knows how long it could go.
What are you prepared for?
I'm taking out 3 months' worth, probably, of funds, and maybe getting a generator. One can be located, setting aside water. They say you should have per person a gallon of water per day per person, so 2 gallons isn't going to last very long.
And you will have all of that set aside?
I'm working at it right now. It has to be done incrementally, not just all of a sudden. I think if people will do it that way, the possibility of disaster will be at least lessened.
All right. I hope you're wrong, but I appreciate you calling in, because I know that there are a lot of people who are thinking like you're thinking, Al, and I'm glad you called. Thank you. Donna, Lake City. Hello, Donna. You're on 710 KIRO.
Hi, Dori.
Hello, Donna.
Hi, I figured I'd better get going. Last year, I started thinking that I better get a new house built out of town. So I started my house building. I'm going to have the generator panel wired in. Got my generator, got my well, got my septic tank. I got my Northwest Foraging book. I got my Edible Wild Plants book. I got my Wild Mushroom Worth Knowing book.
You're all set. You're going to be self-sufficient, self-contained.
That's right.
Wow. I'm envious. And you've done all this because you're fearing the worst?
No, I was planning it anyway.
Oh, okay. All right. The problem with edible plants is, for somebody who doesn't eat vegetables, there's very little in that book that I'd be interested in. I'm going to have to find the edible animal book somewhere.
Yeah, well, then you get your rabbit snares, and then you get your deer gun, and then you know.
That's right. And the deer gun, like I said, when I have to go out looting, that'll come in handy for that.
Oh, that's right, an anti-personnel gun, too. See?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to have to buy my first gun ever. This will be great. All right, Donna, thank you. See ya. Let's go to, my AK-47, my New Year's AK-47, but that's only for special occasions, Sean. Beverly in Burien, you're on 710 KIRO. Hello, Beverly.
Hi, I'm not doing anything. I'm not planning on doing anything, but I probably won't take an airplane at midnight on January 1st.
But you're not going to do anything?
No. And I'll tell you why, because I just consider the source. I think that if people, I hear people say, I read this, and then this was on the internet. Nothing tells me that they were reading credible material.
Right.
Also, most of this seems to be grinding out on a regular talk show, lecture circuit deal where people are making all kinds of money.
Sure.
And it's the same lecture talk show circuit that I've heard say other things that have an equal amount of credibility. I haven't heard any very much from the people that have large investments in corporations, etc., or people that have more than I have invested in this, in any situation that might be affected by this Y2K. I haven't heard those kinds of people expressing fear.
Well, they're the ones who are best prepared, and the large corporations are much better prepared than the small to medium-sized companies because they can afford to be.
Well, I just consider the source of the material I'm hearing, and it just doesn't sound credible.
Okay, so you're not going to do anything.
That's right.
All
nothing.
right. Okay, thanks, Beverly. They're back-to-back calls, or 2 out of 3 calls. One guy who's going to have months' worth of food, and one woman who's not going to do jack. One line's open. It's toll-free, 1-800-KIRO-710. We might have
1999 Mariner season. Exclusively on 710 KIRO.
Hey, how's the traffic out there?
Hello, Dori.
Hi there.
Yeah, I agree with most of the previous callers that it's as far as computers go, it'll be a non-event. As far as people go, their perception, they may cause the only headlines are going to be on TV or radio or in the media on January 1st.
And is there any way, in your view, to prepare for that?
I think there is. I think that the main things I keep hearing are people concerned about food, power, whether the government's going to be with it, the banking industry, and the airlines.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those companies should go on the public airwaves and assure their customers that they've taken every measure possible to reduce or eliminate this Y2K perceived problem, and that they've asked all their vendors to do likewise.
Yeah, the problem is I don't think they can, in all truthfulness, go on and say that right now.
Well, then,
otherwise,
there you go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I mean, the Senate report says that small businesses, which probably represents a lot of the vendors you're talking about, small businesses are not prepared for this. And if the suppliers start to break down, then the large corporations that are prepared from a computer standpoint, they're going to suffer some breakdowns, and there goes the domino.
Oh, I think if they start now and they start asking this of their vendors, I mean, I've dealt with some of these companies before.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's too much to ask their vendors now. You know, you've got to provide us with some kind of either paper backup if your system fails, or show us that you've gone through and you've checked through some documentation, you've checked through your systems and your procedures and your computer system, and that you're ready to rock and roll for New Year's.
Yeah, well, and you're right. It would be nice to hear some kind of reassurance. I got to run here, Clancy. Thank you for the call. But frankly, the only domino effect I'm really worried about is, will Domino's still be delivering on January 1st for the bowl games? We'll take this into the next hour. It's 12:57, News Radio 710 KIRO.
The House will come to order. The 1999 legislature, your future. TVW is shown daily in selected locations throughout Washington. For exact times or availability, call TVW at 360-586-5555 or visit the TVW website at tvw.org. This announcement is adjourned.
You've heard it on the radio. You've seen it on TV. And it continues to grow. Glen Grant Chevrolet Mazda on Burion's Auto Row is moving up a notch in the continuous battle against high prices. Glen Grant has hundreds of used cars and trucks all on sale right now. No matter what you want. Cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, Chevys, Mazda, Ford, Chrysler, and all kinds of used imports. Glen Grant even has those hard-to-find used 4x4s, including Suburbans, Tahoes, Explorers, and Jeep Cherokees. And talk about value. How about a 98 Chevy Astro Van LS? Save thousands over the price of a new one at only $15,995. And there's more. Glen Grant has over 200 used cars and trucks, with 40 of these quality used cars and trucks priced at under $10,000. That's right, 40 used cars and trucks under 10 grand. At Glen Grant, we're beating back high prices right now. And that means right now is the time to buy at Glen Grant. So help us and join the Glen Grant battle on high prices today. Glen Grant Chevrolet Mazda, 1st Avenue South in Burien on Burion's Auto Road, just minutes west of SeaTac, or visit them on the web at www.glen